Applause to. No, I hadn't had a chance to talk to y'all. There's only 2 of you that have to give a speech. There's only 2 of you, so the rest of you are off the hook. You're good. You just have to smile. You're good. All right. At this point, we want to come up and start off in the right note. Gary Underwood, would you come up and lead us in a word of prayer, please?
It is great to see all of you guys. Good to be back together. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this day and the many blessings that you provide for us each and every day. We thank you most of all for the grace and mercy that you provide for us. Lord, we ask you to use these young men that are seated up here. Use them to do their very best in all efforts in their life, in football, in other athletics, in their schooling. Lord, in their life, Lord, use them to honor you. Use us today to honor you and serve you. In your name we pray. Amen.
All right. We always have to acknowledge our wonderful sponsors, and do want to remind everybody too, before we do that if you've never been here before, you need to text somebody and say, hey, listen, I know you can't be here, but you can watch this live anywhere in the world if you go to our Facebook page, lrtouchdown.com. It's actually live on 103.7 The Buzz. All the pictures that are taken today will be posted a little bit later, but if you want to text somebody and let them know, you can watch live, Facebook, lrtouchdown.com, listen to 103.7 The Buzz. That way, if they're not here, they can also watch or listen. Do want to thank our wonderful sponsors. Just hold your applause to the end. 103.7 The Buzz, Terry Mahan and the guys from The Zone. Appreciate them being here live every Monday throughout the season. They do a great job in promoting what we do. The Hatcher Agency, Greg Hatcher, thank you. Where's Greg? Thank you so much for supporting the Touchdown Club and all you do. You're the man. Popeye, one of the things we do, Joe, is we make sure to have limo transportation for everybody who comes in to speak. We do it first class. Couldn't do it without Greg and his great support. War Memorial Stadium, been around since 1948. Found out today, I mentioned the Harlan Hill Award. We found out today that Bill Lawrence, the sponsor of the Harlan Hill Award, actually got to see Harlan Hill play at War Memorial Stadium in 1953. He's still alive. He's right down here. There he is. But we love War Memorial Stadium. That's right. Appreciate his life. We appreciate War Memorial Stadium, opened in 1948. Thanks for all the things you do out there. Arkansas Urology, Scott Davis and Chris Shinup, thanks for all you guys do, saving men's lives, for all the checkups you give all across the state of Arkansas. Pulaski County Farm Bureau, Todd Dennis, Stephen Reichard, thank you for delivering the Farm Bureau promise for 80 years here in Pulaski County. Advantage Service Company, Kevin Brooks, you're the man. Your entire team at Advantage Service Company, you take so good care of everyone. 5011 call is the number to take care of everything. HVAC, plumbing, electrical, you name it, they do it. Dairy Queen, Blake and Nelson Lively, Todd Denton. Nelson, you look amazing. I don't know how much weight you have, but I'm jealous. You look great. Congratulations to you. We appreciate Dairy Queen. Simmons Bank Arena, I saw Michael Marion wearing his Mississippi State shirt. Congratulations to your win. We're sorry for the loss of Coach Leach, and what a great guy he was for the game of football. And congratulations to the year you had in 2022. Really outstanding. Big Red Stores, my friends to the right, celebrating 25 years of serving the state. Almost 50 locations. We love you guys. Appreciate all you do for the community. You're such good people. We appreciate you being part of the Touchdown Club. Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings, my good friend Judy Henry. We go back a long way, Judy. There would not be a Cliff Harris Award up there if not for Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings. Thank you so much, Judy, for your support of what we do at the club. You're the best. You really are. Crane Automotive, Larry Crane, up here at the head table. We appreciate Larry. Larry was instrumental in getting Joe Theismann up here on our head stage today. And Larry, we appreciate you and what you do here in the community and around the state. And 23 locations, largest automotive dealer group in Arkansas. And Barton Hankins, Christian Kane, we appreciate them too. The Democrat Gazette. Now, my man Wally Hall, I don't know if Wally is here today or not. You guys have been a sponsor for 19 years, every year. We appreciate that. And I think we may have, do we have the video by chance of who their guest speaker is coming up? Have you got that? You do not have that. We thought we had that, but coming up you have, let me make sure I get it, Carly Lloyd, which is the GOAT of women's soccer, coming. Yes, exactly, in June. All Arkansas Preps. It's over 300 athletes from all sports. It's going to be amazing. I'm always honored to be a part of that. Amanda, thank you so much for involving me, and appreciate your support of the Touchdown Club. And, of course, our presenting sponsor, we couldn't do it without Simmons Bank. Chris White's up here at the head table, David Stogsdill. $27 billion in assets, but, Joe, they started with about $3,000 back in 1903. $27 billion, 6 states. But, you know, the bottom line, they haven't forgotten where they started. Business or personal, talk to them. They'll take great care of you. Appreciate them. Let's give a big round of applause to all of our great sponsors. We couldn't do it without them. Our Touchdown Club team, Doubletree Hotel, the best in the business. Lakia Brandt, we appreciate you. Matt Johnson back in the back, M&M Productions, all that he does. Dwayne Duncan, Nelson Chenal taking photos. R.J. Hawk, our new state representative from House District 81, does a great job doing everything for the Touchdown Club. Amber Helms and Tom Sawyer with Vines Brookshire Agency. We appreciate all the social media that they've done for us. And Joe, I tell you, nobody, I say it every time. You know, we've had Paul Feinbaum and John Gruden and Kirk Herbstreit, Marty Smith. They all come in and they said, this is the best Touchdown Club in America. And it's because we have amazing volunteers. Exactly. Let's give a round of applause to Debbie Wyman and all the volunteers that we have. They do an amazing job. They are what put us number one, and we're excited to have them back every year out there doing this for free for us as we try to bless the community with the game of football. All right, so we're going to dive into all of our awards. So just buckle up. Here we go. So we've got everything covered, every position, every offense, defense, but we start with the Sully Award. Now, the Sully Award is named in honor of Steve Sullivan. Steve Sullivan, one of the great play-by-play guys in the state. He's a Hall of Famer going to the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame. Nobody does a call better than Sully. So we decided to start honoring, Joe, high school broadcast team that do a good job of making good calls. And this is our winner this year. His name is Kevin Pierce. He's from Newport High School. And I want this. The person who judged this is the play-by-play person for the New England Patriots. So he listened to all the calls, and he chose this one because he thought it was the most detailed and accurate in making the call. So let's hear our Sully Award winner for 2022.
4 seconds remaining. Newport have time for one more play. Your receiver's left, one right. Marshall from the gun. He's taking it. He's looking to throw. Steps up in the pocket. He heaves it down the middle. Spiral pass. Got a man open. That's Cripe at the 35, 30, 20. He's not going to catch him. Touch it down. Newport. What a play call. Beautiful pass from senior quarterback D.J. Marshall into the hands of senior wide receiver Colin Cripe. Newport takes a 28-14 lead.
There you go. How about that? All the details involved in that. Kevin Pierce, come on up. Get your Sully Award. It's not as easy as it looks, is it, Rex?
No,
Rex?
not at all.
Not as easy.
Not at all.
Not as easy as it looks. You know, Joe, we used to do this for high school and college, but the man to my right kept winning it so much that we decided to put a halt to it. As a matter of fact, do you have, just to give you an example, a sampling of my good friend Rex Nelson to the right from OBU? Let's hear one call from Rex.
Actually, the 45 now, so about a length of the football is what we need. Now they're going to split out, and they're going to go with the direct snap to Chris Oliver on third and very, very short. Oliver breaks out of there, and he may go 40, 35, 30, high stepping into 20. He gets around him into the 10, 5. He dives. He's to the land of milk and honey. Give him 6. Touchdown.
Rex Nelson, everybody. There's only one Rex. Now, Kevin, that doesn't mean you need to do that for Newport High School. What you did was perfect, and that's why you won the award. Right now, this time, our man Rex Nelson is going to come up, and what we've done, the first group of honorees, every college football program in the state of Arkansas has an MVP, and that's who we're going to recognize right now. They don't have to give a speech. Rex is just going to give some of their stats, but these are the best players at every college in the state of Arkansas. Please give it up for Rex Nelson, everybody.
Thanks, David. All right, thank you, David, and thanks everybody for being here. When I call your name, if you will stand, but if you'll hold your applause till the end of each player, I'm going to start today with the conference that I have the great honor of broadcasting every week, week in and week out, the Great American Conference. It has become one of the best conferences in NCAA Division II, so we will start with Arkansas Tech University. I don't think Jesus Zumbo was with us today, but he is the kicker at Arkansas Tech, a second-team All-America kicker in his final year at Tech, making him the first Wonder Boy All-America football player since 2019. In his final season at Tech, he made 14 field goals, a perfect 9 for 9 in tries from 30 to 49 yards out in the first game of the season, tied the program record with a 52-yard field goal from Arkansas Tech University, Jesus Zumbo. Next, from Henderson State University, one of the finest receivers I have had the honor of watching at the Division II level, really at any level, Xavier Malone. Xavier is standing 2022 D2Football.com First Team All-American, 2022 First Team All-Super Region 3, a unanimous 2022 First Team All-GAC player, caught 67 passes for 1,382 yards and 15 touchdowns in 11 regular season games, one of just 2 players in all of Division II to end the regular season with 1,300 or more receiving yards. From Henderson State University, let's hear it for Xavier Malone. We'll go across the street to Ouachita Baptist University, and I've got to tell you, you love it if you're an old offensive lineman when a lineman wins the honor. For Ouachita, Peyton Stafford. Peyton, a senior from Amarillo, Texas, 2022 D2 All-Region First Team, 2022 All-GAC First Team, 2022 semifinalist for the William Campbell Trophy presented by the National Football Foundation, nominated for the 2022 Gene Upshaw D2 Lineman of the Year Award, helped lead Ouachita to an undefeated regular season, a conference championship, a playoff berth, graded out as Ouachita's top lineman in all 12 games this season. From Ouachita Baptist University, Peyton Stafford. From the University of Arkansas at Monticello, how about those Boll Weevils, Bill Lawrence? It is Damaris White, a junior linebacker from Urbana, Arkansas. In the 2022 season, White had 77 total tackles, 49 of them being solo. He was voted the All-GAC First Team after leading the Weevil defense. His 11 tackles for loss placed him third in the conference. Upon the conclusion of the season, he received a nomination for the Cliff Harris Award. From UAM, Damaris White. From Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia, for the Mule Riders, redshirt sophomore running back out of Osceola, Jarek Scales. He picked up in 2022 where he left off, being the GAC Freshman of the Year in 2021. All-GAC first-team performer, D2 All-Region second-team honoree for his outstanding play during another historic season. He set the program record for single-season rushing yards in 2021, became just the second player in program history then to record consecutive seasons of 1,000 or more rushing yards, as he posted 1,043 yards, 5.8 yards per carry on 179 carries. From Southern Arkansas University, let's hear it for Jarek Scales. From Harding University, unable to be with us today, I believe, but our MVP, Cade Pugh. Cade, a senior defensive back who led the team with 8.5 tackles for loss, 8 pass breakups, and 3 interceptions. He earned D2 second team All-America, D2 first team All-Super Region 3, first team All-Great American Conference. From Harding University in Searcy, Cade Pugh. Now, moving to our NCAA Division III program in the state, Hendrix College at Conway. It's Tajay White, a 3-year starter, all-conference performer for the Hendrix Warriors. He will graduate with a BA in psychology. How often do we get that, David, with one of our players? And does plan to attend graduate school. Voted first team all-conference by the Southern Athletic Association for his senior season. Ranks as one of the most prolific return specialists in modern program history. The senior from Gravette led the conference with 54 receptions, 704 yards, catching 3 touchdowns and averaging 114 all-purpose yards per game. From Hendrix College in Conway, Tajay White. Now to our NAIA program in the state, Lyon College from Batesville, Isaiah Bradford. Isaiah, a 5th-year senior quarterback for Lyon College, hailing from Birmingham, Alabama, Jerry. During his career, he started in 32 games and played in a total of 38 games. The man they call Zay owns the Lyon College record for longest touchdown pass of 99 yards, as well as most yards in a single game, passing touchdowns in a game, total passing yards in a season, passing touchdowns in a single season, and passing yards per game. From Lyon College, let's hear it for Isaiah Bradford, our MVP there. Now, let's move to NCAA Division I. From the University of Central Arkansas in Conway, Tamarian Wilson. He is a sophomore safety from Bryant. He was UCA's leading tackler for a 2nd consecutive season and finished the season with 104 total tackles, including 6.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 2 forced fumbles. Was named to the sophomore All-American team, a key player in helping start the Bryant High School domination that you're all familiar with. Now, he is leading the University of Central Arkansas in Conway, the MVP, Tamarian Wilson. And real quickly, David, before I sit down, we had a tremendous honor for football in Arkansas this week. I did want to mention, and this is a big deal, the American Football Coaches Association in Los Angeles voted as their president one of our own from Arkansas, Ouachita Baptist University head coach Todd Knight. Todd, will you stand? Congratulations on that. Your new president of the American Football Coaches Association. All right, David, I'll give it back to you and honor our other Division I MVPs.
Thank you, Rex. All right, Todd, no pressure or anything, but can you clean up this mess of college football in the big boy and the FBS level? Got to try. That is, congratulations. That's a tremendous honor. 3 more players, MVPs that are not here, I wanted to tell you about. First is UAPB's Mark Evans. He won our Willie Roaf Award last year. Think about this. He had 521 snaps at offensive tackle, allowed only 2 sacks the entire season. He's been invited to the NFL Combine and is considered to be the top HBCU lineman in the country. So we wish the best for Mark Evans. Mark Bear, his assistant coach, is here today. We'll make sure and get Mark his plaque. Next from Arkansas State, Johnny Lane Jr., a senior running back that was ranked 24th in the country in kickoff returns, 2nd in the Sun Belt, 6th in punt returns, led the nation in combined kick return yardage between punt returns and kickoffs. That's Johnny Lane Jr., and Shane Broadway will make sure and get you his plaque to get to Johnny. And last but not least, the MVP for the University of Arkansas, KJ Jefferson. Another solid year for him. Without him, the Razorbacks were a different team. You look what he did in the Liberty Bowl alone, 19 of 29 for 287 yards passing, 2 touchdown passes. He rushed for 130 yards on just 14 carries, scored 2 more touchdowns on the ground. It took his heroics for Arkansas to beat Kansas. No surprise that he is the MVP for Arkansas. So let's give a round of applause for those 3 MVPs. At this time, since you mentioned Todd Knight, if you are a collegiate or high school head coach, I want you to stand and let's give a round of applause to those coaches. High school, not assistant, head coach for college or high school, please stand. Let's give all these head coaches a round of applause. Come on, look at them. Nathan, good to see you over there. Now, if you're an assistant coach in any of these teams, let's give you a round of applause. Come on, stand up, all the assistant coaches. Let's give all the assistants a round of applause. And if you're a mama, daddy, uncle, grandpa, whatever of any of these honorees, please stand up and let's honor you for all the work you've done with these young honorees. All right, we move on to the next section of our awards. We start with the Paul Lills Award. This was done about 12 years ago in honor of the great Paul Lills, who was the greatest play-by-play Razorback broadcaster of all time. What a great man he was. And this goes to the top player for the Razorbacks that exhibited perseverance, overcoming obstacles, great character. And it was pretty simple for Coach Pittman to make this choice, and it was Bumper Poole. Bumper Poole was playing this year, Joe. He had labrum tears in both of his hips, and so he could barely bend over. He didn't tell anybody. He kept it quiet. His production was not as much as it normally is. He's the leading tackler in the history of the University of Arkansas football program. But what character, what a fine young man. There's no transfer portal with him. It's all about being a Razorback. So let's give a round of applause for Bumper Poole. He's recovering from his second surgery in Fayetteville. We'll make sure and get his plaque. Next, if you look up there, we've got 3 awards, the Darren McFadden Award, the Willie Rofe Award, and the Dan Hampton Award. And Joe, the way that works is that those are all 3 Arkansans. They're all born and raised in this state, and because of that, we pick out a high school and college running back of the year, offensive lineman of the year, and defensive lineman of the year. And we're going to start with Darren McFadden, his award. So all 3 of these guys, I will send them video of these players, 2 or 3, and they will actually evaluate. And these are Hall of Fame players. They take the time to evaluate who they want to be their winner. And here's who Darren McFadden chose. For his high school player of the year in Arkansas, running back of the year in Arkansas, is Dennis Gaines from East Poinsett County. Dennis, go ahead and you stand, Dennis, where you at? Listen to this. Dennis was 5th in the nation. Not in Arkansas, 5th in the nation in rushing, 3,232 yards on 367 carries. Do the math there. 8.8 yards per carry every time he touched the ball. Wow, it's worth a round of applause right there. That was a new single-season Arkansas high school rushing record. He was one of the keys that helped the Warriors reach the 2A state finals. 44 touchdowns in 2022, which is the second highest in the history of Arkansas. And this is the gaudiest stat. So if you rush for 200 yards, it's pretty good, right? Well, he rushed for 200 yards 10 times this year and rushed for 300 yards twice. His coach, Brandon Powell, is here. We honored him, remember, Amanda, as one of the All-Arkansas Preps Player of the Week. I think he rushed for some ungodly number that week as well. And you know what? He's a 2A player, and there were some other players that had stats that were in a higher classification. But Darren McFadden went with you, Dennis. So let's give a big round of applause for Dennis Gaines, the Darren McFadden Award winner. Yeah, that sure does make it. Where's Brandon? That sure does make you look like a great coach, doesn't it, when you got a kid who averages 8.5 yards a carry. All right, for the collegiate running back of the award, running back of the year, Darren had a couple choices. There was a young man up on the hill who shared the same number with Darren that he could have selected, but he did not. He went with T.J. Cole. T.J. Cole from OBU ended the regular season with 26 rushing touchdowns, which is second in all of college football at any division. His 1,600 yards ranked third in Division II. He was nominated for the Harlan Hill Award, sitting there by John, the winner of the Harlan Hill. So for the second straight year in a row, he breaks the conference record, and you broke your own conference record from last year. And here's a great thing. This is an amazing number. TJ is in the top 5 in 7 different rushing categories in the nation in Division II. So Darren McFadden, the GOAT, chose TJ Cole as his Collegiate Darren McFadden Award winner. Come on up. I don't know where the plaque is. TJ, I don't know where your plaque is. It's somewhere in the building. It's somewhere in the building. Oh, it's a trophy. Oh, what am I talking about? It's one of the big ones. So TJ, you got to. I've got so many awards I can't remember, but this is actual a true shot of Darren running, and it's an amazing trophy. And congratulations, you earned it.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon.
Hello there, so you talk.
Good afternoon, everybody. First off, I want to give thanks to God for this ability that He gave me. But I also want to thank the Little Rock Touchdown Club, and also I would like to thank Darren McFadden for selecting me for this prestigious award. With that being said, I would like to acknowledge my head coach, Todd Knight, and the offensive coaching staff. Come on, stand up. Come on, stand up. Stand up. But for sure, I would like to thank y'all for taking a chance on me and allowing me to play for y'all these past 4.5 years. I couldn't be in this position without y'all. And also, I'd like to thank all of my former teammates and current teammates. My big thanks to my best friend, one of my offensive linemen. I wouldn't be here without them for sure. And last and foremost, I would like to thank my mother for helping me every step along the way. From the long nights to late night phone calls, I can't thank you enough for everything. And once again, thank you for this prestigious award. And God bless to each and every one of you.
And that is actually that's the second Darren McFadden Award OBU has won in the last three years, if I'm not, or 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. You guys are doing it right in the running game. We had a video from Darren, and we had a technical difficulty. So, but he did want to say to you and to Dennis, outstanding. He was very proud to pick you as his winners. Next, we go to the Dan Hampton Award. Did you get to play? Did you play against Dan a little bit, Joe? Oh, yeah. Dan is a very dynamic guy. We have him on our show, 103.7 The Buzz, every week, Joe, and he hasn't changed a bit. He's not changed a bit. And he loves looking at film of great football players. And he selected one player to win his award at the high school level this year. It was Quincy Rose Jr. I want to say, I'm going to let you watch what Dan says first, and I'm going to tell you what else Dan said he wanted to do. So let's roll the tape on Dan Hampton announcing his winner this year.
Hi, everybody. This is Dan Hampton coming to you from Chicago. Well, we're getting ready for the NFL playoffs. But before we get too far down that road, I want to take time to announce the winner of the 2022 Dan Hampton Defensive Lineman of the Year Award. Before we announce the name, I want to say thank you to David Basil, my brother at the Buzz. We've been on the radio together now for many, many years, and he makes this award possible. Also, Mike Erie of Carlton and Associates. They're the ones to pay for the statue. All that being said, I want to take great pleasure in announcing the winner as Quincy Rhodes. Big Quincy Rhodes, a big defensive end for North Little Rock. He had a terrific season. He showed a willingness to be relentless, and that's what you got to be a great defensive lineman. You got to be relentless. I know when I went to Arkansas, I went to Fayetteville with a couple of kids from Dogtown, North Little Rock, and they were great guys. They were great players, and you're going to be a great Razorback. So congratulations, Quincy Rhodes.
got the plaque over there? Who's got the plaque? There we go. Come on up, Pops. This is Quincy Sr., everybody. This is Quincy's dad. Come on up here. Here, come right here. I felt like a little guy in this thing. Here we go. Awesome. Step here 1 second. I wanted to say what Dan Hampton said. So Dan Hampton watched the tape of Quincy, and he called me. He said, "David, I like this kid. This kid has great potential. 6'7", 200 how much? 270 pounds. He has no body fat on him. But Dan Hampton said this kid is going to make a difference at the U of A, and he believes in it so much with what he saw on film that Dan has offered to fly here from Chicago and spend 2 days working with Quincy Rhodes Jr. How about that? So congratulations, Quincy. You deserved it. We wish the best of luck to you. Next, we go to the, by the way, too, I did want to mention Mike Erie and his wife, Deanne, for sponsoring the Willie Rofe Award. He's the one who pushed us to get the trophies done years ago. Mike's an old teammate of mine. I love him to death. Appreciate him. And Coach Randy Sandiford, thank you for the great work you've done with Quincy. Outstanding young man. I can't wait to see what he does on the hill. Next, we go to the Willie Rofe Award. Willie selected a collegiate player and a high school player. Now Willie, I'm going to tell you, I don't know, do you know Willie very well, Joe? Fairly. So he can talk. Willie likes to talk. Remember his dad gave maybe one of the greatest speeches we've ever had at the Touchdown Club. So Willie's down at the Hula Bowl, which is down in Orlando now, and he's being honored. He's going to the Hula Bowl Hall of Fame. So he sent this message, and it's a few minutes long, but let's hear what Willie Rofe has to say about his two winners, Ricky Stromberg from the University of Arkansas and Joey Sua from Bentonville High School.
Hello, everyone. This is Willie Rofe, NFL Hall of Famer, 2012 Pine Bluff, Arkansas native. I want to congratulate everybody at the banquet today. I hope y'all are having a great time. It's always good for everybody to get together and be honored with their peers and be celebrated. For all the coaches that won state titles at every level and all the high school players, enjoy your day, enjoy your evening, and I'm so glad this banquet is back on. I want to thank David Basil, the Touchdown Club, and Simmons First National Bank for putting this on. It's a great event. I'm sorry I couldn't be there this year. I will be inducted into the Hula Bowl Hall of Fame this year, 30 years to the anniversary of my senior year in 1992 when I played in the Hula Bowl. It was such a fun time to get that invitation my junior year, and I accepted it real quick. Back then, it was in Hawaii, and nobody was going to pass up the opportunity to get a chance to go to Hawaii and be coached by the legendary Lou Holtz and Eddie Robinson. I had such a great time playing, and I'll be going in with a great class from Brandon Marshall to Darryl Talley to the late, great Bobby Bowden and the Minister of Defense, Reggie White, who was a great friend of mine, and I had the honor of playing in my rookie year. And after I held my own against Reggie White, I knew that I could be a good NFL player when I got to that level. It's an honor for me now to be included with the best of the best in the Hall of Fame and to be able to go around those guys and listen to those stories. And I'm so happy that y'all have one who I've gotten to know who's a great man, Cliff Harris, who's at the banquet, who has his award at the Touchdown Club. Cliff, it's great to see for you to be in the family, and I look forward to seeing you in Canton this year as well. To the first honoree, wow, what a story. The high school recipient, Joy Sua. What an incredible journey. Everything you've gone through, Joy. I'm so glad you could be at the banquet with your family. I look forward to you going to Fayetteville up on the hill early. And David, hold me to this. Since I couldn't be at the banquet, I will make sure that I make it up to a practice once you establish yourself and come to a game up on the hill. I've never seen a game at Fayetteville. I remember going to War Memorial as a little kid. My dad would take me up there when they came and played whoever they played each year in Little Rock. So I got to see the Hogs play a lot in Little Rock, but never in Fayetteville. So I want to tell you, keep being that bright light that you've been so far in your life. Shine it everywhere you go. Keep God first in your life. I had to learn that the hard way, that everything I achieved in football, I wouldn't have been able to do it without God as my Lord and Savior. And I carry that today with my wife. We honor God first in our house, and we do that every weekend. We make sure we watch church, and we stay accountable to each other and to the Lord. And also, I want to say hello to your wonderful mother, and I know she'll be cheering for the Chiefs this week as her cousin, Juju Smith-Schuster, goes up in the divisional game. So we're looking forward for the Chiefs to have a big win in the following week. And so, good luck to you, and keep being the wonderful young man you are. To my college recipient, another Razorback, Ricky Stromberg. Wow, what a career he had from Tulsa, Oklahoma. All you can say is, after he moved around his first year in 2019 and played both guards, he solidified that line playing center for 3 years. He started for 3 straight years and was part of the best running attack in college football Power 5 history in 2021 with the Razorbacks that were running all over everybody. And it was such a fun year to watch them play and get off to the start they did. And I'll tell you this, Coach Pittman and his staff have done a great job up there, and I look forward to these young men, 2 of them that have won the Willie Wolf Award, being a part of that great line. We all know you have to have a good line, especially in the SEC, on both sides of the ball. It all starts and ends up front. And me playing tackle, which a lot of people say is the gunner position, it all starts with the center. The center is the quarterback of the line. And for Stromberg, what he was able to do for the Razorbacks and solidify that line and the durability he showed, it was only a no-brainer that he wins the Willie Roaf Award this year for the college lineman, the best in the state of Arkansas. I look forward to him as he gets ready for the East-West Shrine game, another all-star game I played in, and gets ready for the combine and the draft. And I will be following his career, and I hope he has a wonderful time in his journey. It's for you young men that are at this banquet. It's always fun. Enjoy the experience. Enjoy the friendships. Enjoy the bonds you develop in your football journey, because the football journey is just an early part of your life that will help you get you going on the right path in your life. And I look forward to seeing you young men become productive citizens. I look forward for you to have a wonderful football career as long as you can go with it. Always put God first, put your family first, and y'all have a wonderful rest of the banquet and have a wonderful weekend. God bless.
You know, Willie's 6'6", 290 or 300, but he's really got a gentle heart. He's got a gentle heart, but he would whip your tail on the offensive line. I know that. So I'll make sure that Ricky Stromberg gets his trophy, the Willie Roaf Trophy. But at this time, I want to have Joey Sua. Joey, come on up and get your plaque. Let's give it up for Joey Sua, everybody. Where's your family at over here? Where are they at? Right there. Stand up. Stand up, real quick. Stand up. So they've got a great story. If you don't know the story of Joey Sua and his family, they moved. They felt God moved them from the West Coast to Bentonville to work at Walmart, and all the other schools that were recruiting him to leave Arkansas. He said, "No, God wants me to be a Razorback. He wants me to stay here in Arkansas." And I encourage you to Google the story of Joey Sua and what he's overcome, and the fine young man that you are, and the amazing parents you have with a great Samoan culture. And we look forward to seeing you be a Razorback. Congratulations. Willie mentioned the Cliff Harris Award. For the first time, we don't have our Cliff Harris Award winner here. He had a conflict and could not be here. But John Matoka, our Harlan Hill Award winner, knows him well because he got to play against him in the national championship game. His name is Caleb Murphy. He's from Ferris State. All you need to hear is this, Joe. He set the NCAA record in all divisions for single-season sacks, 25 and a half. He led all divisions with 39 tackles for losses, which matched the all-time single-season record at any NCAA level. In 2 seasons, he had 40 sacks, consistent All-American, and won back-to-back national championships at Ferris State, and was second in the voting in the Harlan Hill Award to you, which very rarely happens for a defensive player. He's going to be drafted. He's going to go to the combine. And so what we're going to do, we actually did this last year for Sam Roberts, the winner last year. We're going to go down to the Star in Dallas where Cliff lives, and we're going to make the presentation down there. I will remind, too, the last 2 years of our Cliff Harris Award, the last two players that we've named are playing for the New England Patriots. One is almost an All-Pro in Kyle Duggar. So that just goes to show you what an amazing award that is. So let's give it up for Caleb Murphy, everybody. And I did want to say, too, Chris and David, thank you for sponsoring the Willie Rofe Award as well. All right, our last award of the day before we get to our guest speaker, Joe Theismann, is one of the premier collegiate awards in the country. And I'm really thankful that Bill and Doris Lawrence has become the sponsor for this amazing award, Harlan Hill. This time, Rex, come on up and just give a brief overview of what the Harlan Hill is all about.
Thank you again, David. We are tremendously honored here at the Little Rock Touchdown Club to now be the home of the Harlan Hill Award. Joe, it has become known as the Heisman of Division II. Now, we've all known for decades that Theismann rhymes with Heisman. Well, Hill rhymes with real deal, and these players are the real deal. Let me tell you real quickly about Harlan Hill. Harlan Hill played at what is now the University of North Alabama in Florence, Alabama from 1950 to 1953. He then played for the Chicago Bears from 54 to 61, later played for the Steelers and the Lions. He was a three-time All-Pro. He was the 1954 Rookie of the Year in the National Football League, and then he was the MVP just a year later. This award, as I said, was established by the folks in Alabama to be the Division II version of the Heisman. A banquet was held in Florence from 1986 through 2017, and then the University of North Alabama made the decision to leave Division II and move up to the football championship subdivision. So it really made no sense for them to host a Division II award. David and I flew down to Florence, Alabama, went to that last banquet there, and said the Little Rock Touchdown Club, already doing the Cliff Harris Award for small college football, we would love to be that. We have worked with the Great American Conference, and we are now the home of this prestigious award. And so at this point, let me introduce, we're glad to have with us again this year, the son of the great Harlan Hill, Jerry Hill. Jerry, come on up.
First of all, I'd just like to thank David and his crew and the Little Rock Touchdown Club because this is such a prestigious award throughout Division II, and it means a lot to our family, you know, and when UNA decided to make that transition to Division I, you know, we were really concerned about what would happen to the legacy of my father's trophy. So we can't thank these people enough, and it's an honor for me to be here. It's an honor for me to represent my father, and it's an honor for me to recognize who the winner is. But, you know, my father was a very humble man. He based things on relationships. You know, that's how you're going to be successful. Any business, whether you're a football team, a business, relationships, family, God. And that's very important to us. So, you know, I'd like to recognize my family because this is such an important award to our family. I'd like for my family to stand where we all came from, North Alabama, again. So I'd like to recognize the Harlan Hill family. And to John, I know my father would be very proud. Just a little bit of time I spent with you, all the traits and things. You know, you have a great personality. You're team-oriented. You talked about there's no way you could have won this award about all your coaches, your sports information, your teammates. And those are the type of things that he really believed in. So he'd be very proud that your name is going to be on his trophy. Thank you.
And we've got a video before John comes up, so let's roll that right now.
John Matoka is no one-year wonder. He was a Harlan Hill nominee back in 2019 as a freshman. This season, Matoka went places few Division II quarterbacks have ever gone. He threw for almost 5,000 yards and 52 touchdowns. He led all of Division II in passing yards, touchdowns, efficiency, and points responsible. John Matoka was at his best when the lights were the brightest. His postseason numbers this season, 23 total touchdowns. That's more than double the next player in Division II. He had 6 touchdowns in the regional final at Angelo State. John threw for 300-plus yards 11 times this season and cracked the 350-yard mark 4 times. Please welcome your Harlan Hill winner, the pride of Magnolia, Texas, and the Colorado School of Mines, John Matoka.
I'm not that big. I can't hold it the whole time. First off, I'd just like to say thank you. I got a lot of thank yous to get out of the way because, as you all know, I would not be up here without countless people behind the scenes. And also, I want to give a congratulations to all the other honorees up here today. This is a big honor, and so thank you, and thank you to Little Rock Touchdown Club for hosting all of us. And I'd like to first thank, the most important one is to God. He's blessed me with so much, and there's not enough thanks and praise I can give to him. And then to my family, without you, I would not be up here. I mean, that's the biggest part of my life. You always taught me since I was growing up. It goes God, family, and football. And football is not possible without the first two. I ended up at the Colorado School of Mines, and education kind of got slotted somewhere in there. But we're doing all right. I'd also like to thank the committee and voters. And Mr. Hill, I'm honored to receive the trophy in your father's name. He was a small-town college guy, a big NFL player and leader, and always giving back to the community. That's someone I strive to be, and so I'm honored, and thank you. Next, I'd like to thank the coaching staff at the Colorado School of Mines. The Colorado School of Mines is a place and an institution that has high expectations on and off the field, and that starts with the coaching staff. And so Coach Moore, Coach Starbick, and Coach Brennan, I'd like to thank y'all for taking a chance on me, and I don't look like much, but I can play. So thank you. I'd also like to thank the community and the alumni and student body back at the Colorado School of Mines. There's unbelievable support. This includes our entire athletic department and amazing teams that we have. The culture that we have in the athletic department is something special and is something that promotes success and promotes winners. So thank you for David Hansberg for that. I'd also like to thank the community back home. You mentioned Magnolia West and Magnolia. Magnolia ISD has always been there for me, and I cannot thank them enough. And so finally, I'd like to just thank my teammates. This award can only say one name, but it is not an individual effort, not even close. There's 11 guys on the field at all times. There's 3 phases of the game, and there's 100 more in the locker room and on the practice fields behind me. So I wish all of them could be up there with me. Be up here with me, and I cannot thank them enough. The best teammates, best coach, and best team in the nation. And thank you so much, and I'm honored to be up here. Thank you.
Where's John's parents at? Where are they at? Please, but y'all stand real quick. Please stand. Let's give them a round of applause. What a fine young man. Congratulations. Great to have y'all here. Pretty impressive group of young men. Let's give them a round of applause. What outstanding. That's what I'm talking about. Outstanding young man and football players second. Speaking of great football players, we're getting ready to talk to one of the greatest of all time, both college and pro. Our man Sully's got a great introduction. Let's hear about our guest speaker tonight, and then we'll get him up here on stage. Sully, take it away.
Few have accomplished as much in football as Joe Theismann. A 1970 first-team All-American, Joe was 23-2 as a starter at Notre Dame. He's a member of the College Football Hall of Fame. Joe Theismann started 124 games as a Washington Redskin. 1982 was a magical season. Theismann led the Redskins to their first championship in 40 years with a win over the Dolphins in Super Bowl 17. He was also voted Man of the Year in 1982. Joe Theismann was the NFL's most valuable player and Offensive Player of the Year in 1983. He led Washington to 160 wins and threw for over 25,000 yards. He still owns 4 Washington franchise records, including most career wins and most career passing yards. As a broadcaster, Joe worked on Monday Night Football coverage and helped call Super Bowl 19. Please welcome one of the all-time greats, number 7, Joe Theismann.
Thank you. Thank you. You're so kind. I appreciate that. Hello, David.
Joe, great to have you.
Finally.
Joe was scheduled to be here last year,
right?
And COVID knocked us out, shut us down, and so he said, "Listen, we'll make it work this year." So thank you for still making it work in your schedule. First of all, what do you think about the young man you saw and heard about today?
I was just going to say, John, I can appreciate size. Trust me. I entered college at 155 pounds, graduated at 175. Never played heavier than 185, 15 years of professional football. And I say this to every one of you, no matter how size you are, what your size is physically, it's your heart that matters. And every one of you deserve a tremendous amount of congratulations, not only for your athletic ability, but for the young men that you are. It's an honor for me to be in your presence today. I think the world of you. I really do. It's unbelievable.
Nice. You know, as I've learned, we all age. And I'm learning it myself.
Some faster than others.
That's exactly right. I'm accelerating at breakneck speed here. But so it's interesting. I don't know how many young people know about you, and so my girlfriend and I decided to say, hey, if you don't know about Joe, she's a little bit younger than me, just a little bit. So I said, why don't you Google Joe and tell me what you think? So she Googles him, and I hear her go, oh. And I figured that what obviously she had stumbled on was the horrific accident that Lawrence Taylor broke your leg. And I said, oh, you saw the horrible tackle that broke Joe Theismann's leg. She goes, no. Show me the first picture there, if you will. That's what she saw. That's what she saw. I am not joking. That's not a joke. That is not a joke.
David, that was taken last week. Don't I wish?
I don't doubt that.
Or last year, or last month, or sometime.
Listen, man, you're still in good shape.
I try.
Yeah,
I try.
You've done about everything. I mean, you've accomplished. For those who don't know what you're up to now, I know you're doing a lot of speaking engagements, and I know you've been a broadcaster. Sort of tell everybody what you've been up to.
Well, I do spend a lot. I wrote a book called How to Be a Champion Every Day, based upon the presentations that I have an opportunity to give to different groups, different venues, different places. Biggest group I ever spoke to was 35,000. It was an Amway event at the old Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, and the smallest was a dinner of 7. And it's just a question of taking the relationship between the world of sports, the world of business, and our own lives, and how they really parallel one another. And that's sort of what we go through, and these young men are living it now. And all the young athletes in Arkansas here are living the same thing. It's how do you balance your time? And, you know, what scares me a little bit about where we are today at collegiate football is we don't hear quite enough about, quote unquote, the student athlete. We hear the athlete, but the student part of it is so important because any one of us, as it happened to me, could have a career end in an instant. And the only thing you have left is those thoughts that you put in between your ears, the time you invest in your education. And the good Lord has guided me in so many different ways. I got asked on the radio show earlier about, you know, the injury. And I said, really, I was on a path. With success, we sometimes feel like we're really important. You know, we get feeling really special about what we do. And I had reached a point where I had started to feel really special. MVP, world champion, all these other things. And all of a sudden, the good Lord stepped in and said, you know, you're on the wrong path. You're on the wrong. I'm going to help you get back to where you belong. Now, he could have called. I mean, you get a call from God, it's not going to be like, I'll call you later. You don't say, I'll call you back. No, he decides to send a 6'4", 235-pound messenger by the name of Lawrence Taylor. I got the message, okay? I just wanted to tell you that. But what happened to me was it brought my feet back down to earth, and it taught me how to understand one very simple thing, is that in times in life we feel like we deserve to be served, when that is not the fact. Every day of our life, we need to serve others in some way, shape, or form. And that's what you do here at the Little Rock Touchdown Club. By honoring these young men and the sponsors that have put their time in, everybody in this community has come together to say, thank you very much. First of all, thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to be together. And secondly, to honor those that have worked so hard. Those in business that have worked so hard. And it's just a fun experience. But to me, having my leg broken, and people come and say, oh, Joe, man, I'm so sorry you broke your leg. I didn't break my leg. Lawrence Taylor broke my leg. Keep the facts straight, just the way they are. But I've done a couple of movies, Hallmark movies. Yeah, we did a couple of those called Love on the Sidelines and Snow Coming. And a couple commercials are out there, a few different things. And I did Washington's preseason games for a number of years.
Yeah, I'll talk about Washington here in just a second. Everybody here on this stage is I think we got 3 high school guys and the rest are college. Let's show a picture real quick, Matt, of one of your playing days at Notre Dame. That was against, we know that ugly burnt orange color in the background there that you're playing. That was,
if I hear the term hook 'em horns one more time, I'm going to throw up, okay?
Now,
that's all I can
if
tell
memory
you.
serves me right, you beat them once. Let's see, they beat you first and you came back and beat them in the second Cotton
Right,
Bowl.
we had an opportunity. We lost to Texas the first time. And then we had a chance to go back and what we did is we had a committee at the university, sophomore, junior, senior representatives, and then coach, Ara Parsigian. And we sat down and we had opportunities to go to different bowls. Like we could have gone to Florida. You leave South Bend in January, Florida looks very attractive, I have to be honest with you. And he said, well, what do you think? And he said, well, we want to go back to Texas. We want to go back and play in the Cotton Bowl, and we want to play Texas again. Because I believe they were ranked #1 at that time. And we wanted another shot at them, and we managed to get to do that. Interestingly enough, in that game, we wound up winning 24, I think 11, something like that. But in that game, the ulnar nerve on my right arm got hit. And I had no feeling in the last 2 fingers of my hand. John, you know what that's like when you can't hold a football, right? So and also the other young man here, I couldn't hold the ball. So we wound up winning the football game, and it was a great honor. Nebraska actually had beaten somebody in the Orange Bowl. They wound up being #1. We finished #2 in the nation. But it was an opportunity to go back and play. The college and the high school experience today is something that is valued and appreciated. Life is moving so fast, and for so many of us in this room, we did not have to deal with these young men and young women in athletics are dealing with today. I think we really have to understand that the pressure is so much greater for them to try and succeed, to try and socially be accepted. And the most important thing is that's what sports does. Sports gives you that opportunity to bond, to care about one another, to look at that person next to you and say, I'm relying on you. You're relying on me. Let's do the best we possibly can. And I say this to every one of you here today is you've just tapped the beginning of your life. You've just started the journey. Make every day important, and make every day important to the fact that you're going to be able to give something back to someone, to your community, to your parents, to your friends, and even to yourself. We don't want to forget who we are. We don't want to get lost and feel like we're out there alone, because you're never alone. I mean, this is evidence of it right here. This touchdown club right here in Little Rock is saying to everybody, and to have as many, like once a week. Touchdown clubs go once a year. I've been invited, but once a week, are you kidding? And everybody comes out. The support is tremendous, and that's really what you need at times in your life. We all go through peaks and valleys. People say, Joe, you're just an up guy all the time. No, I have my valleys. I just choose not to stay in the valley.
Well, you mentioned it. College football is a little different now.
Yeah.
At the FBS level, you've got NIL, transfer portal.
I don't call it college football anymore. I call it semi-professional football played by young athletes. That's basically what it is.
So you like it?
No, I don't. I don't like the NIL at all. I think that everybody contributes. I think, like I say, academically, I think it's very important. There's an emphasis on it, but I really, the NIL. A small group of people are probably going to capitalize on it. The portal is what scares me. The portal scares me to the fact that if you enter a program, I don't know how you recruit college coach. I don't know how you recruit athletes today, because you don't know if they're going to stay a year, 2 years, or half a year. The thing is foundationally, when you're at the age of these young men in this room today, is really when you start to learn the foundations of life and the profession that you may want to get into as far as football goes. The coaches are taking the time to teach you. But you think you're really good enough to go from one place to the next when you really have no foundation to fall back on. I tell people this all the time. The Great Pyramids were not built on their point. They were built on a foundation. I think that's what you're building in college. It's the first year you're learning how to be a student athlete. And then the second year, you're learning how to get into the program that the coach is teaching you. And the third year, you start to develop. And now I think with the pandemic, we had, there's 6-year athletes. But where does the foundation go? If you don't like, that guy's pretty good ahead of me, I'm just going to go someplace else. We're teaching kids how to quit and run. And I just don't think that's a healthy thing. I really don't.
So you were talking about, you mentioned the coaches. You mentioned Ara Parsegian, obviously a Hall of Famer. Another one, the next photo, Matt. I created this award called the Broyles Award that goes to the top assistant football coach in college football. One of the reasons there's a Broyles Award because Coach Broyles had assistants like one of your head coaches, Joe Gibbs. I wanted to just maybe talk about how Ara and Joe Gibbs influenced you and the kind of coaches they were.
Ara was, when you're in college, it's a little bit different because you're really coached by the assistant coach. Head coaches have so much on their plate. They have so many different things to deal with, practice schedules, meetings, radio shows, meetings with the coaches. You don't get to spend a lot of time with Coach Gibbs. It was a little bit of a different story because he was our offensive coordinator as well. With Ara, Tom Pagna was my quarterback coach when I was there, and Tom was the one I spent a lot of time with. It's like any great corporation. You may be the head of a corporation, but if you don't have the right people running it, you have no chance to be successful. Head coaches are the same way. I think the choice of your staff is as critical to the success of the entire school, of what you really want to do, or organizations we are in the professional ranks. Ara was unbelievable. I was scared to death of him. Ara would check on us. He'd send out a message. He'd say, one of the assistants would come and say, Coach wants to see you. I'm going, oh, God, what did I do? What are my grades? First of all, it's like if your wife asks you, what's going on? 1,000 things go through your mind. What did I do? What did I do? And then you start. But the coach says, well, he wants to see it. And all he wanted to know was how my mom and dad were, how I was doing with my grades, and all that. And it was like, you walk out there and go, whew, thank you so much. And then with Coach Gibbs, it was a different story. We spent a ton of time together. I had the honor of having a football life done on me about 2 months ago. And Joe talks about our meetings. I'm a little high-strung, okay? I'm an A guy. I'm rocking and rolling all the time. Coach Gibbs is not. Coach used to sleep at Redskin Park 3 nights a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night. And we'd had our meetings. Monday was a light day. Tuesday we were off. Wednesday we started our meetings. And so I'd come walking in. 7:30 in the morning was our first meeting. I'd come walking in, and Joe would just walk out of his office. And I'd go, hey, Coach, how's it going? He looked at me, turned around, took his coffee cup, went back in his office for another 15 minutes. He said, I can't deal with you right now. I just can't deal with you. It's amazing. But Joe we talk all the time. We talk on a monthly basis. And I have so much respect for him as a man, as a person, as an organizer. We had tremendous staff. I don't think people realize this. In Super Bowl 17, when we beat the Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins were 0 for 17 in the second half. Coaches, you can appreciate that as a defensive coach. They didn't complete a pass against us in the second half. And of course, John ran for a ton of yards. But Joe had a great way and a concept of being able to put us in the end zone. When I had a chance to play in '83, which was our year we scored 540-plus points, it wasn't a question whether we would win or lose football games. The only question was how many points were we going to score. That's how good we were as a football team. And Joe was the man, the architect. And then after I got hurt, and we went on for the next 2 years after that to win the championship in '87 and '91. But I want to mention something about Dan Hampton in that group. Yeah. This goes to third game of the season, 1985. We played the Chicago Bears in Soldiers Field. Unbelievable football team. I think it's the greatest collection of athletes in the front seven that's ever been put together. That includes the Eagles. That includes the great Ravens team, the great Cowboy teams. This seven was almost. I can close my eyes today and I can see Mike Singletary and Otis Wilson and Werble Marshall and Richard Dent and Steve McMichael and Dan Hampton and Fridge Perry. I can see them like they're right here. You know why? Because all day, that's really where they were. They were in my grill the entire day. So we have a 10-point lead on the Chicago Bears. We've got a 10-point lead. So we kicked the ball away from Willie Gault 3 times, fastest man in football. Now we're going to kick the ball to Willie. I'm standing on the sidelines, ball goes through the air, Willie catches it, starts to run. I'm going, whoa, look at Willie run. Whoa, look at Willie really run. Oh, Willie's in our end zone, touchdown. Scores 10-6. But on that play, our punter is also our place kicker. He tears the thigh muscle. We don't have a punter. No, Coach Gibbs is standing on the sidelines going, we don't have a punter. What are we going to do? I says, hey, Coach, I can punt. He said, you can what? I said, I can punt. How hard can it be? You drop the ball, you raise your foot, boom, piece of cake, no problem. He says, fine, next time he punts, you punt. So we go out on the field, and we get the ball on our own 13-yard line. I run a running play, gain 2 yards, 2nd down and 8 from the 15. I look to the sidelines, and Coach is signaling in a pass. I'm going, great. Chances are we're not going to complete this because I have a personal relationship with the punter. I take the snap, drop back, pick out a kid in the 3rd row, whoop, into the stands, incomplete. 3rd and 8, got that same relationship with the punter. He signals in another pass, I bounce this one around. 4th and 8, guess we have to punt. Offense runs off the field, kicking team runs on. My teammates are going, hey, Joe, kick it right, kick it right. I said, man, just get it back here. Ball's on a 15-yard line. I'm on a goal line in Soldiers Field looking up going, Mom, look at me. I'm a punter in the National Football League. How great is this? And you know what went through my mind? Danny White was a punter for a quarterback and a punter for the Cowboys. So I thought, if Danny can do it, I can do it. So I catch the snap, the ball hits my hand. Have you ever had your world go into slow motion? The instant that ball touched my hand, the roar of the crowd just became a, oh, and I'm thinking, kick the ball right, drop the ball, raise with foot, pow, ball goes spiraling through the air, hung in the air, went 16 yards. I'm back 15. That's right, you're being addressed today by a record holder in the National Football League. I hold a record for the shortest net punt in the history of the National Football League. You know, I have people come up to me and say, you know what, Theismann, you were a failure as a punter. I said, ha, I've never had a failure in my life. Only an educational experience that did not go my way. That's how I choose to look at life. But, I mean, it's all those crazy things happen. And I get a kick out of visiting with guys like Dan and talking to different players that I had a chance to play with. When I played, we didn't have free agency. We all sort of hung out in the same city together. So today, guys live in Miami or Phoenix or someplace else, but we were all in Washington. There's 4 cities that are very interesting to me: New York, Washington, Dallas, and San Francisco. A lot of the players that I played with in the 80s all still live in that area because that's where we all grew up and raised our families. Because like I said, we couldn't go someplace else. 1982, we won a world championship. 1983, I'm the MVP of the league. 1984, my contract expires. I got nowhere to go. Somebody said to me today, what do you think you would have gotten if those circumstances were like today? A world champion quarterback, an MVP of the league. You know what, 40, 50 million? But, you know, life is what it is, and I congratulate everybody and anybody that can get as much as they possibly can. You'll appreciate this, though. In 1984, I was the 4th highest paid player in the National Football League at $1 million a year. So times have changed just a little bit. It's like, but I think of Patrick Mahomes. You know, and I think he's the most fascinating one to watch as far as the quarterback position goes. Not only his ability to throw the ball, but his vision, his creativity are so wonderful. And, you know, when Patrick signed his $400+ million contract, he bought a part of the Kansas City Royals. Good for him. I think it's great. When I signed my contract, I sponsored a Little League football team. So we're exact sponsors and owners of football teams. So we're exactly the same kind of guys. A few zeros behind it, but it was still a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's crazy money. You know, when I decided to have you here and I was thinking through what I wanted to ask you, I didn't want to go to your injury. I just, you know, I knew everybody asked you about the injury. Everybody, I'm sure. So I thought I'd take a little bit different tact talking about what happened to you. Number 5, if you will, Matt. The whole world, if you look to that was you to the left. That's your friend Mark May.
Right.
And I sort of, you know, compared it to what the whole nation was seeing last Monday night. And I just sort of was thinking sort of what was going through your head because you'd been in a situation, maybe not life-threatening, but having a situation where you didn't know what was going on, how badly you were hurt, and what happened with Damar Hamlin.
Well, first of all, thank the good Lord that Damar is doing what he's doing and as well as he is doing. I mean, that's just so incredible. I'm so thrilled that he is able to do that. I wouldn't be surprised. I know he's in a hospital in Buffalo now, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills can win a couple weeks. That he may wind up at a game. And I think just an incredible inspiration for all of it, because all of us have been where guys have gotten hurt. You've been on the field, and you know, we're all brothers in kind. That's who we are. We all care about one another like a family. It is an extension of our family. I've had different instances where I remember, you know, Coach Parcells standing above me, looking down at me going, Joe, I'm sorry. I'm looking up at Bill going, Bill, so am I. And then Coach Gibbs comes out and he kneels down and he looks in my eyes. He says, Joe, for 6 years we've been together. Joe, you've been such a big part of this football team. Joe, I feel so bad. I said, I'm sorry, Coach. I apologize to both of them. I'm laying there with a broken leg and I apologize to both of them. Then they wheeled me out of that stadium and 55,000 people stood up and gave me like an ovation I'd never heard before in my life. 55,000 people thanked somebody who thought he needed absolutely no one. And so to me, that night, like I say, changed my life completely. But I'm so thrilled. I got tons of calls that night wanting to talk to me about it. But I didn't believe it was right. This was, you know, all I wanted to do was focus my prayers on DeMar. It's the only thing that mattered to me, that this young man was going to be okay. Will he play football again? That's irrelevant. Just let him live his life. And that's the thing, because what these young men are going through right now are preparing themselves for life. The amount of effort you put in, the amount of time you put in, counting on one another, relying on that person next to you, relying on the coaching staff for guidance, those are all lessons that we all can take forward in our lives.
Last thing we'll do, this show me number 7, Matt. So everybody's heard about the Hogs.
There they
That's
are.
not the Razorbacks. That's the Washington Redskin Hogs. And to the left over there, that's Mark May, number 73. And I want to.
Left of him is George Stark, Mark May, Jeff Bostic, Russ Grimm, and Joe Jacoby. By the way, Joe Jacoby should be in the Hall of Fame. Russ is already in. Jake should be in.
Yeah, I met Jacoby last year at Mark May's event. He still looks like he can play. I mean, in that offensive line, you can make the argument one of the greatest to ever play.
I think so. I think they're up. You know, Buffalo had the Electric Company. Everybody's got they've got different names. You know, the Purple People Eaters, the Steel Curtain. Everybody. These are the Hogs.
The 73, Mark May, who appears with us on the Buzz weekly, he made a comment about said that you and him used to.
Yeah, we used to play a little bit of gin all the time.
Yeah,
I built an entire wing on his house.
That is true. That he beat you so much that he actually added a room on his house.
Yeah, he did. He did, as a matter of fact. It's called Joey's Room. But we find ways to pass time on airplanes.
And last thing, I've seen a couple of photos of you. You've said you've done stuff for Washington. How do you feel about the current ownership? Are you happy? You like to see things change?
I don't really know, nor do I have privy to the information to figure out what'll happen going forward from an ownership standpoint. I know I was very proud of the way this football team bounced back. I thought that, you know, the games that they played, you know, the first Giant game, you know, the official aired, and the league acknowledged that, so we wound up losing that football game. But they had a chance. We would have been, I think, the only division that would have had 4 teams in the playoffs had we had the opportunity to get there. I think Ron Rivera's done a great job. Like about 13 different teams in the National Football League, we're probably going to go on a quarterback search. I think they're going to look for someone to come in and be their guy. Sam Howell played really well in the last game, and so against the Cowboys, which to me, the Cowboys are an enigma. Who are they? You know, I think that this weekend, Monday night, when the Cowboys play the Buccaneers, I don't think anybody in this room can tell us what the Cowboys are going to look like. Because I don't even think they know what they're going to look like. You know, they come in and they're you know, highest scoring team in football, and then all of a sudden you can't catch a punt, you can't receive a punt, you can't punt the ball, all these little things happen. But I think the playoffs are going to be exciting, and this is, to me, the most exciting time of the year. Having had a chance to go through this process, football is broken down into 3 different speeds and 3 different officiating styles. In the first preseason, they sort of emphasize different things, that rules have been changed, and there's a certain speed. Then you get into the regular season, and there's another speed. And 17 games is a lot of games. I didn't realize that the 17th game would be as much as it really is in the strain it is. And then you start the playoffs. First round of the playoffs, things pick up. Second round, they get faster. Third round, they're faster. All of a sudden, you're in the Super Bowl and things are flying. I mean, you really need to have your game at the peak when you get there. And it's interesting. And the officials, you watch every one of these playoff games. They're going to let them play, which I love to see. And I have one thing that I believe and I wish college football would do. I wish college football would eliminate the stoppage of the clock after a first down. Just let the clock keep running so I don't have to watch 5 hours of college football. I like it, I love it, but 5 hours just draws it out. I think it might just enhance. Not that anybody ever listens to me, you know, but I just threw that out there in case somebody in the NCAA. or a conference might want to consider it. I don't know. But I feel like at times it gets long.
Now, this is cowboy country. You know, there was a lot of hatred
Oh, there
back in the
should
day
be.
between
Coach
did
Jerry,
you hate
are
the
you-
Cowboys as much as the Cowboys hated the
Absolutely. They didn't like us. We didn't like them. We were talking about this earlier. The reason why there was this thing, George Allen really started it with Tom Landry. You know, George was this guy. It became personal for Coach Allen when I played for him. It was personal. You know, Tom Landry and the Cowboys. It was a very personal thing. Jerry Jones is an incredible man, just a wonderful human being. And I came out of Destin, Florida this morning. Jerry has a place down there, and every now and then I'd see him while we're broadcasting and just get a chance to visit. I think if you're going to have a great rivalry, something has to be at stake. You know that from where you are. Something has to be at stake, whether it's a high school championship that you've been going against each other, a college championship, or as for us in the pros. And always for us, it was the Cowboys, and at that time we were called the Redskins. And it was us against them, and one of us was going to go to the playoffs, or one of us was going to go to a division championship, or one of us was going to go on to the Super Bowl. And that's what made it so much fun. And I have, like I say, Cliff Harris and that whole bunch down there, they were unbelievable. I mean, you know, Randy White, John Dutton, Harvey Martin, Ed Too Tall Jones, that entire group. Everson Walls used to drive me crazy because he never was where I told him to be. He was a defensive back. Ever try to tell a defensive back to move over? You're trying to run a route and they don't move. Very uncooperative people. Defensive backs are very uncooperative people when it comes to that.
Everybody, let's give it up for Joe Theismann, everybody.
Thank you so
and
much.
all the honorees here. Thank you for being
Thank you.
here. Congratulations, young man. Keep up
Thank
the
you.
good work. We'll see you next year. And Joe will be taking pictures if you want to afterwards. So we'll do pictures and he'll sign autographs if you want.
Congratulations, man.